Hello everyone, welcome back to my lectures. So today in this particular lecture we are going to discuss about independent events and again some theorems like total probability and then some Bayes theorem, multiplications theorem based on our probability. So in our initial lecture also we have stated and discussed a few theorems on probability which are actually in terms of our sets and everything. So now let's start with our independent events and then along with that we will be discussing few of our theorems in our probability. So starting with the first one, we will be discussing with our independent events. So probability of at least one of the n independent events. So for example, if we are having some n events, that is our P1, P2 and until Pn. So P1, P2 and so on Pn. So these are nothing but our probabilities of n independent events, right? So similarly, initially we have considered our events as A and everything. So here we have considered here again the same thing. Our events are A1, A2 and so on An, where our probabilities of these independent events are nothing but P1, P2 and so on Pn, right? So then the probability that at least one of these events will happen. So not like everything, so at least one of this happen is nothing but 1 minus whole into 1 minus P1 into 1 minus P2 and so on until 1 minus Pn. So this can be written in another way, that is nothing but our 1 minus P of A1 bar, P of A2 bar, that is nothing but our reverse of it, because our complementary is nothing but 1 minus the probability, so that we have written here. So probability of occurring this independent events, at least one of these events, right? So at least one of these n independent events is nothing but given by 1 minus P1 into, it's nothing but P of A1 we can say, 1 minus P of A2. Okay, let me write in this way, let me keep it in this way. So which is nothing but 1 minus P of A1, right? 1 minus P of A2 and so on, 1 minus P of An for n independent events, right? So we know complementary of event is nothing but 1 minus the event. So here we can write this same thing in a different way, that is in terms of our complementary. A bar, A2 bar, A3 bar and so on until An bar, right? So this will be our this is the thing which actually gives that probability of at least one of these events will happen, right? So here we have considered our P1 to Pn as our probabilities and A1 to An as our events. So correspondingly to occur at least one of the events, so this will be the condition we will be using. So this is nothing but we call this as our probability of at least one of the n independent events. Here our A1, A2 and An until An are nothing but independent events. So now let's get into our multiplication theorems on our probability. So as I said, initially we have discussed few theorems. So now we are discussing in particularly about multiplication theorem. So let us consider two events A and B with a random experiment, which are actually related with a random experiment. Then our P of A intersection B is nothing but P of A into P of B by A. So if you remember this, we have discussed the same thing in our initial conditional probability thing, right? So conditional probability also it states the same thing. So in conditional probability it will be P of B by A will be equal to P of A intersection B by P of B A. So but if we do a cross multiplication, that is nothing but our multiplication theorem, it ends up and it gives it as P of A intersection B is equal to P of A into P of B by A, where we have to remember our denominator, that is P of A should not be equal to 0. Similarly, if we write in terms of event B, this will be P of B into P of A by B, where our P of B shouldn't be equal to 0. So this particular is called as our multiplication theorem with when we take two events which are actually associated with our random experiment. And then we are having multiplication theorem for our independent events. So when we have independent events, so let us consider the same way two events A and B which are independent, then our union will be equal to, or else if they are independent, which means they doesn't dependent on each other, then our intersection will be can be represented or written as P of A intersection B will be equal to P of A into P of B. That means our probability actually is simultaneously occurrence of the two independent events, so which will be equal to the product of their probabilities, right? So this is actually by multiplication theorem we can have here, that is P of A intersection B is equal to P of A into P of B by A, because our two events A and B are independent events. So from where our P of B by A will be equal to P of B. Hence we can say our P of A intersection B is nothing but P of A dot P of B, right? Because we have actually derived this from our initial multiplication theorem, that is nothing but P of A intersection B is nothing but equal to P of A into P of B by A. But here if you observe, we have considered for our independent events A and B are not independent, not dependent on each other, which means since these two are independent, our P of B by A is nothing but equal to P of A. Hence we end up getting our P of A intersection B will be equal to P of A into P of B when we have two independent events which are actually associated with the random experiment. So as we have seen our basic multiplication theorem, so now let's see a question based on it. So here there is a question which states that the probability that a married man watches a certain TV show is 0.4 and the probability that a married woman watches the show is 0.5. The probability that a man watches the show given that his wife does is 0.7. So find the probability that married couples watch the show, right? So first we'll consider, let H be the event that married man watches. So let P of H be our probability of married men watches the show, which is given as 0.4, right? So let us consider W as our married women watches the show. So probability for women they have given P of W is nothing but 0.5. And here they have given that the probability that a man watches the show given that his wife does is 0.7, which means man watches the show with respect to his wife given the show it's nothing but 0.7. So now for the first question, what they have, for the question they asked is nothing but find the probability that married couples watch the show, right? So married couple watching the show in the sense both man and women, which means both married man and married women watching the show is nothing but P of H intersection W. So which is nothing but when we have intersection it will be P of W into P of H W with respect to W, and we know P of W is 0.5 and H with respect to W is 0.7. So the product of this will be 0.035. So hence the probability that married couples watches the show is nothing but 0.35. I'm so sorry. Only 2, right? Yeah, 2 points. So 0.35. So the probability that married couples watch the show is nothing but 0.35. So let's get into our next question. So here it is a question based on our bag and balls. So a bag contains 3 white balls and 2 black balls. Another bag contains, okay, let us take our first case. So first bag, 3 white balls, 2 black balls. So another bag, so another case, 5 white balls and 3 black balls. So if a bag is chosen at random and a ball is drawn from it, what is the probability that it is white? So first we have to choose a bag and then we have to choose a ball which is actually white. So for that even we have to find. So first case we have taken it as the ball chosen from the first bag. So second case, the ball chosen from the second bag. So these are our two bags. So we will be having two cases, because here not only one bag here we are having two bags. So we will be actually having two cases. So for the first case, we will be considering that ball is chosen from the first bag. So if ball is chosen from the first bag, then what is the probability of having like balls? So for the first bag case 1, second bag case 2, then the probability that the first bag is chosen is nothing but 1 by 2, because two bags, one bag can be chosen, 1 by 2. And the chance of drawing a white ball, so choosing a bag probability is 1 by 2, and choosing a white ball from bag is nothing but 3 by 5, right? So similarly, for first bag we are having choosing for bag is 1 by 2 and choosing the ball is 3 by 5. So similarly for the second bag it will be 1 by 2 and 5 by 8, right? So the chance of randomly choosing a bag and drawing a ball is nothing but, it's given first we will be choosing a bag. So from this bag we will be checking our white. So this is our case 1. So there can be another possibility that choosing a second bag and our white balls from the second bag. So this will be our probability, which can be taken as mutually exclusive cases, right? Both are actually different from each other. So here it will be 3 by 10 plus 5 by 16, right? Then what will be our LCM? LCM would be, let it be 160, and then 16 into 3, 48 plus 50. So 48 plus 50 is nothing but 98. So 98 by 160. So it can be divided. So in 2 table it will be going 98 divided by 2, 49, 80. So hence we end up getting the probability that the drawn ball to be a white is nothing but 49 by 80. So here what thing we should remember or observe is nothing but, here we are having two bags. From the two bags we are actually choosing one bag first, from that we are choosing a ball. So it can be some other bag, case 2, from that we are choosing a white ball. So hence we end up getting our probability for that ball to be white is nothing but 49 by 80. So now let's get into our theorems, our next theorem. So here we have discussed our multiplication. So now let's get into our theorem of total probability. So here we are having some n events which are actually mutually exclusive and exhaustive events. So such that our events, probability of events should not be equal to 0, right? Then our probability of A, if A is a event, that will be equal to P of E1 into P of A by E1. So it's like a total probability event. So the sum of all the events will be equal to our complete event A, right? So this particular theorem is called as our theorem of total probability. But here we have to remember that our event considered which are actually mutually exhaustive and exclusive events. So the next theorem here we are having is Bayes theorem. So Bayes theorem is actually somewhat related to our condition probability. So we know that if for a condition probability, how we will be writing. So here they have written in terms of intersection. So apart from intersection, they have directly written in this way. We know our P of A by B can be written as P of A intersection B by P of B. So instead of that, we can even write in this way. So both are actually same. So this is our conditional probability. So the probability of event A given that B has subsequently occurred is, so P of A by B. So that we know. So this is a direct result from our condition probability and our theorem of total probability. So this is nothing but our conditional probability and the theorem of total probability. So in Bayes theorem, we will be writing the same in terms of this huge thing, right? Because here P of B. So according to our total probability, P of B, that is our P of E, like instead of A, here it is a P of B, that can be written as P of E1. So that's what here they have written, right? So here by like combining both the cases, so for a nth term or a some I event, so our Bayes theorem states this particular equation, that is nothing but P of AI by B will be equal to P of B by AI into P of AI by P of B by A1, P of A1 plus P of B by A2, P of A2 and so on until n events. So this particular result is actually from our conditional probability and our total probability. Right. So in general, if we talk about our Bayes theorem, this is our basic representation of the Bayes theorem. So now let's do a question here. So here there is a question which states that a real estate man has 8 master keys to open several new homes. Only one master key will open any given house. So if 40% of these homes are usually left unlocked, what is the probability that the real estate man can get into a specific home if he selects 3 master keys at random before leaving the office? So how much probability that he can get it? So use our total probability theorem here. So let us consider our two events A1 and A2 be the events that the specific home is left unlocked and is left locked respectively. So specific home is left unlocked and locked respectively. We have considered two events. So our P of A1 is nothing but left unlocked. So that is our unlocked. So if usually unlocked, so the probability of unlocked is 0.4 because they have given it's a like 40%. So if A1 is unlocked, then A2 is our locked, which will be equal to 0.6 because we know sum of the complete probability will always be equal to 1. So from where complementary, using the complementary, we got this. So now let us consider our event A be the real estate man get into a specific home. So using our given data, we will be finding our P of A by A1 with respect to the given one. So that is our conditional probability. So this will always be equal to 1 because the probability, like if we have taken our event A is nothing but it's the event that the real estate man getting into the specific home, that is P of A by A1 is equal to 1 because it's obviously unlocked, right? So that will be equal to 1. So then our P of A by A2, that is locked doors, will be what? So how many keys he is having? So 7 C2 by 8 C3, right? So because how many master keys? It will be 8. So from 8 master keys he will be taking 3 master keys, but one home is obviously unlocked. So we have taken it as 2 homes, so it will be 7 C2. So this will be equal to 3 by 8. So our P of A by A2 is nothing but 3 by 8. So our final aim is to find our P of A. P of A will be equal to P of A1 into P of A by A1 plus P of A2 into P of A by A2. So this is nothing but the man to get into a specific home if he actually selects 3 master keys. So this will be equal to 0.4 into 1 plus 0.6 into 3 by 8. So this is nothing but 4 by 10 plus 18 by 80 will be equal to 5 by 8. So hence the probability here is nothing but 5 by 8. Let's do one more question based on our balls. So here a bag contains 2 white balls, 3 red balls and 2 bags here we are having. So bag A contains 2 white balls, 3 red balls, and then bag B contains 4 white balls and 5 black balls, right? So the question here is a bag is selected at random and the ball is drawn from it. So drawn ball is observed to be white. So find the probability that the bag B was selected. So the ball drawn is nothing but white. They have given the probability of it. So now we have to find the probability of the bag B is to be selected. So let us consider event A1. So A1, A2 are nothing but independent events. So let A1 be the event. The bag A is selected, right? So P of A1, bag A to be selected is nothing but 1 by 2. And similarly, if we take bag B, that is event A2, that will also be 1 by 2. For both selecting any of the bag, the probability of selecting both of them is nothing but 1 by 2. So now from let us consider our event that a white ball is drawn from the selected bag. So same way how we have done initially we have done same kind of problem. So from the first bag, if we have selected our, what we can say, white ball, so that will be equal to A1 by A, because P of A is our drawing our white ball. So it will be equal to, sorry, A by A1. So with respect to A1 we are finding, so in bag 1 first we are considering, so that will be 2 by 5, and for second A by A2 white ball, in second it will be 4 by 9, right? So our final is selecting a bag B, that will be equal to 1 by 2 into 2 by 5 plus 1 by 2 into 4 by 9. So here it will be 1 by 2 is common, so 2 by 5 plus 4 by 9. So this will be equal to 38 by 25 into 1 by 2. So this will be equal to 38 by 50. So if you remember, apart from this, directly we have done in the initial example also we have done same kind of thing. So it's like when we have two bags, selecting first bag and the ball in it, and the second bag and the ball in it. So that's why we end up having our probability of that bag to be a B. So this is our probability. So this is our probability of selecting our, what we can say, ball, white ball. So now here the question is probability that the bag B is selected. So our probability of A2, that is our bag 2. So here we have taken our bag 2. So according to our theorem, P of A2 by A is nothing but P of A2 into P of A by A2 P of A. So then what is our P of A2? P of A2 is nothing but 1 by 2. P of A by A2 is 4 by 9. P of A we found out just now, 38 by 50. So this result is nothing but 90 by 4 and then into, so it will be 10 by 19. So hence the probability that the bag B was selected is nothing but 10 by 19, right? So this is how we'll use our basic Bayes theorem or as total probability or as multiplication theorem and solve our questions, right? So we left with one small topic, that is our binomial distributions. So that we'll be covering in our next lecture of probability. Thank you.